welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies inspired it. And today on the show, we are live from downtown cinemas, where we had an awesome live Piecing It Together on Terrifier 3 with Michael Keene, Bean and William-Patrick Coleman returning for another one of these panels. They were on 2 of the other live shows this year, and it's always fun to get returning panels put back together in the same way. We get a fun little rapport going. So we're going to get into Terrifier 3 here in a minute. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts. You can follow us on social media at PiecingPod, and don't forget to join our Facebook group Popcorn and Puzzle Pieces, where we continue the conversation about all the movies we talk about here on the show. Also, before we get into the conversation, you're going to be hearing this a lot over the next month, but I have a new album coming out of silly songs about my pets, the Pup Pups. It's their 3rd album. It's called A Boy and His Dog and 3 Cats and a Bear. And if you act fast, you can pre-order the album and get your pet's name included on a special bonus song that I'm recording to finish up the album. I've done that on the last 2 albums as well. You're going to want to get in on that pre-order. I'm closing it up on October 20th, so you only have 7 days to do this at the time that I'm recording this. So this one's kind of coming together quick because for the first time ever, I'm getting this on vinyl, and it's a much longer production time for getting the vinyl pressed. So I got to get those pre-orders in, get the final song recorded, and then get it out to the press. So you can do that at thepuppups.bandcamp.com. There will be a link in the show notes as well. You'll be able to, of course, hear this album on streaming and all that once it comes out. I'll also likely do a commentary track as a special bonus episode around the time when the album comes out on December 6th. But if you want to get your pet's name on the album, you got to get that pre-order in now. And the vinyl is going to look and sound amazing. That's going to be the way you want to do it. But again, you can find out all about that at thepuppups.bandcamp.com. Now let's talk about the complete opposite of the Pup Pups, Terrifier. All right, so I'm David Rosen, the host of the Piecing It Together podcast. We're going to get into Terrifier 3 here in a second, but before we do, I want to introduce my guests here, starting off with William-Patrick Coleman returning to the show. How's it going, William?
Very good. Thank you again for having me.
Absolutely. Tell everybody about what you do.
I am the host of a sketch comedy show revolving around the theme of movies called FILMBUFF. You could look me up, FILMBUFF Show on YouTube, pretty much under anything, Letterboxd, Facebook, everything. FILMBUFF Show.
Right on. Bean right there returning to the show. Tell everybody about yourself, Tia.
For sure. Firstly, I want to say happy Gay Day, Las Vegas.
Yes.
It's Pride Day. Yay, Pride. Yeah. Which is why I am dressed like Glenn from Seed of Chucky, who is my gay icon.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm aspiring B-horror movie actress. I think I'm also a piece in this movie because there was a true crime podcaster named Mia, and I'm also a piece of shit true crime podcaster with a very similar name. So I love when like art imitates life.
Just feeding off people's traumas.
So that's my first piece is myself. So
beautiful. I love it.
I love
it. I always like when we can relate ourselves to the movies in some way. So absolutely. Michael Keene over there on the ends.
Hi.
How you doing, Michael?
Hi, I'm Michael Keene. I am a filmmaker and sometimes YouTuber. And you can find my film The Head on Blu-ray from the great folks at Terrorvision. That's my plug.
There you go.
Right off the bat.
Absolutely.
I'm going to just advertise myself in your podcast.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Absolutely, So getting into this movie here, I just watched them for the first time this week, obviously because this was booked, and so I wanted to, get into them. But are you guys fans of these movies? I mean, when we first talked about these guys have joined me for 2 other live shows before this whole panel here, and we talked about doing this one as the 4 of us again. Are you guys all big Terrifier fans?
I literally watched it to study for this.
So just like me, yeah, absolutely. So. William, you loved the second one, right?
So I love is a
yeah.
It's a movie.
Yeah.
No, I called it the Terminator 2 of Terrifier.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just so much more so much more story, so much more. You could tell they have so much more of a budget. The movie's an hour longer than the first one.
Yeah.
But the first one had a really interesting idea, real simple, and that was, I mean, at the time that it was, I saw them at the time that they were released, and that was really fun at the time that it was released. So they're definitely entertaining movies, I will say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about you, Michael?
I'm the dickhead on the podcast.
Okay.
I saw Terrifier at some point. I saw Terrifier 2 in theaters, and I thought it was good. That's about as much as I can say. I think Damien Leone or however the fuck you say his name, is a stellar gore director.
Sure.
And obviously great at special effects, and I will never take anything away from him in that regard. I think narratively and from like a dramatic standpoint, he makes me want to go to the fuck to sleep every time I watch a movie of his.
Interesting.
And that's where I am here.
Yeah, well, fair enough, because I do think that if you weren't in on the second one, it's just probably not going to win you over here.
It was a 3-star movie, but the problem was it was 5-star gore in a 2-star film.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't want to like shit on him because he seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
I just think that I don't know, if I was going to be like the shitty film professor, be like, it's dramatically inert. Or something,
Yeah. Well, the main thing here on piecing it together is that we talk about a movie through the lens of what movies might have inspired it. And so I always like to just kick it off, throw one out. I have a few like random things around to go to, and I'm sure everybody here has some interesting things. But I want to go with an obvious one. First, we're doing Christmas horror, so I mean, we got to go Silent Night, Deadly Night and kick it off here. As far as slashers set at Christmas, I mean, there might be others on the list too, but it's kind of a blueprint for this kind of a thing. You also get the Clint Howard connection there, who is in one of them or two or three of them.
Couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, so
one.
Just the one?
Pretty sure just the one.
Okay, so, but yeah, no, it's fun to see him pop up in that, and yeah, I mean, it's just such a great setting for all of the red to mix in with the Christmas time. So, any fans of that on the panel of that one?
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I just saw that for the first time. I think like legit like 4 months ago.
Okay.
I've never seen it before. It's great.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
Yeah.
since like high school. That was like one of those
It's
classic like rentals at that era, where
I watched
you have to
it
rent
like
them all.
last week, but I
Yeah.
also watched like 16 horror movies to like study for this,
Nice.
and all clown and Christmas movies. My mental health is suffering, but I definitely watched the first and the second one. The second one, it's terrible.
I'm
But
sure.
the first one is so good. The second one is literally the first one for like 90% of it, and then like 10% story. But like, yeah, definitely a great.
I didn't see
This
the
shows how
second
much of a
Christmas
piece of shit
horror
I am.
movie.
I didn't see the second one yet.
I love the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies.
Nice.
I think it's one of those great what the fuck just happened franchises that you could like marathon in an afternoon and just come away completely befuddled.
yeah.
It's so good.
I feel like I have to now. I want to see the rest of them and just see how ridiculous it gets.
Not to be
It's-
confused with Silent Night or Deadly Night, two separate movies.
Oh, sure.
Also, I didn't know that there was a sequel, to be honest
The
with you.
Silent Night, Deadly Night? There's three
I
more.
feel-
There's
Well, there's
four of them,
three,
right?
and then there's a sort of remake.
Okay.
And didn't it get? Yeah, I was gonna say it got remade.
Oh, wait, am I?
Yeah,
Am I? Wait, 2, 3. Three's with Bill Moseley. Oh wait, no, you're right. There's 4 sequels and then a remake.
And then
4
a
sequels
remake.
and a
Okay.
remake.
Gotcha.
Okay, and probably another remake in a year or two. But that's where we go from there. But yeah, I don't know. I really want to watch those movies now, especially hearing from Michael that they're just like, what the fuck just
They're
happened?
positively bananas.
Yeah. All right. I'm in. William, let's go to a piece.
Doing a little bit of research on this topic also. There, Christmas time and horror movies have been good bedfellows for quite a while now. Ever since Christmas Carol in the late 1800s, mixing the two, which is actually still, I love that story, Christmas Carol. But I would go with, if we were doing the same concept, you choosing Christmas horror movies, Gremlins,
Okay. Yeah.
just because of the terrorizing aspect of their nature,
Yeah. Well,
kind of matching.
and one thing I was thinking about, that's a really good one for an idea that I was like kind of trying to put a piece to, of the idea that our villain is out doing just all this violent, crazy mayhem,
Just havoc,
havoc, and has nothing to do with the main characters.
Exactly,
and then
yeah.
eventually they finally get together.
Yeah.
and-
I feel
yeah.
like the first shot of this movie of just the house with the snow felt very like Gremlins.
Gremlins, yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. And I thought the second one really, the second Terrifier really captured that kind of vibe of like that era of movies really well. I feel like this one's trying to do its own different thing, but just still though, like getting back into that era of 80s and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
Gremlins, great one to throw on here. Tia, let's go to one.
Shoot, let me grab my notes. Okay, so I'm gonna go with a more obvious choice and go in like chronological order from back to front of the movie. So starting with the end of the movie. The end of the movie reminded, and I'm not getting this from this guy's shirt who is wearing the film right in front of me. It's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
But Evil Dead 2.
Specifically.
The end of the last scene where they're like unwrapping the presents and then like she tries to possess the girl and then the portal opens up and she falls into the portal. It's like, is she going to end up in like purgatory or like a medieval world, you know? And there's like a chainsaw and everything. Like it felt very Evil Dead.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sam Raimi-esque, you know.
I bring up Evil Dead on this show way too much, and so I was sitting there hoping someone else would. So thank
Yes,
you, because
awesome.
absolutely. I mean, and he's said that the fourth one is going to be the last one, supposedly. I mean, with the box office this is getting this weekend, who the hell knows? But the idea of going into some other dimension, you know, some other world for what's going to happen next when she makes her way into that portal. It's going to be exciting.
On that same theme, I just watched Cemetery Man for the first time this week, and that felt very like in the vein of like Evil Dead 2 and like also this movie, like that campy, like weird, also like what is going on moment. I don't know.
Yeah,
Love
I
that
watched
movie.
that for the first time this year too, and that is a completely nuts movie.
Yeah, I feel like I need to rewatch it. I feel like I'll never understand the ending unless I watch it like on drugs or something. So yeah.
Michael
All
looks
good.
like he understands the ending of Cemetery Man.
Cemetery Man's a great film.
Michael, what's next?
I'm going to be a basic bitch and say Black Christmas.
Sure,
There's that shot where Art the Clown is in the rocking chair and he stays there for 5 years. Very original Black Christmas imagery. There's a very similar attic shot there. And actually, I'm going to be awful and do a twofer.
Okay.
Because Black Christmas, was it 2006? Is that right?
That sounds about right.
That's the remake.
Yeah, the remake.
Yeah.
Also, the first remake.
The first remake.
Also works really well just in how Art tends to be very creative in his kills and tends to take great pleasure. That movie, of course, has the cut out Christmas cookies made of human flesh.
Oh, yeah.
Which feels like a very Terrifier thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have liked to have seen more of Art. And what's the girl's name? I keep forgetting.
Sienna?
Sienna, yeah. Art and Sienna, like maybe getting into the spirit and like doing some cookies or
I
decorations.
mean, they clearly opened it up for another movie. Like, there's definitely going to be another one. So.
They could do a Christmas
Yeah.
special. Like
I would
why
dare
not?
say it's just set up for the next movie.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the storytelling style. I am going to go to another slasher in a totally different direction for my next piece here. So we're taking this classic character at this point. I mean, people love Art, and taking him to a different setting, and at the same time as taking him to a different setting, changing his look by putting him in a Santa costume. I'm going to Jason X. Taking Jason, putting him in outer space. Let's make him Robo Jason, you know, like, and so trying to totally do something totally different with the character. And I mean, he's still basically just Jason, you know, he's got mechanized parts and he's on a spaceship. Here, it's still Art, but he's dressed as Santa and it's Christmas time.
David, are you not going to do the most obvious Jason X connection?
What's that?
The head, the freeze in the head.
Oh, yeah, you're absolutely right.
I was going to...
That's the best
Come
kill in the whole
on.
series. I mean, come on. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Thank you for adding on to my piece there.
And I will say, that Daniel Roebuck getting his face frozen and then
Daniel
smashed
Roebuck.
to pieces,
Yeah.
really solid. I was a little disappointed we didn't see more of the busted up frozen head. It feels like they had a really good effect, but then the face they didn't quite nail, so they kind of just cut as close as they could.
It's possible that kill was a little quick, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, maybe they had to kind of chop that one up a little bit.
So
But,
point goes to Jason X.
Yeah,
That's what we're saying.
absolutely, an amazing kill. William, let's go to another one.
3 things real quick. Did you know Jason Patrick was in this? I meant to tell you ahead of time, but I didn't know.
I
if you
didn't
knew.
know going in. No.
No,
Was that a nice surprise?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to realize that was him?
The credits.
Really? I said his name's on the poster, so I knew. And Daniel Roebuck. I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
The second thing, remember about not even a week ago, they had just been making announcements about the first, 15 minutes or something like that. Have you heard about this? How
No,
in the
no.
UK they were showing the first screenings and people were.
Oh, puking and all that stuff.
But it was
and, yeah.
specifically the opening 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Had you heard about that?
The lady in the lobby offered me a puke bag.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was wondering because nobody offered me one, and I was like, "What if
I was wondering, did anybody get queasy or am I just sick? Am I?
No, I think we're
No.
probably
'Cause
safe.
You're a good person.
Yeah,
I feel, but that didn't affect me at all.
yeah,
Part 2 had some pretty intense moments, but
yeah. I mean, I don't know. Nothing in these movies ever really makes me feel
guess
sick.
we're just we're over that line now. I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah. I was actually just
I mean,
giddy,
opening
honestly,
weekend.
but-
But one that I don't know if I'm out of line for bringing this one up or if it's just too simple of a connection, but The Grinch.
okay.
Oh yeah. No, I had that on my list.
Walking
We're
around with
good.
his
Just,
sack.
just with the sack,
yeah.
even like his shape.
Mm-hmm.
It was between that or Bad Santa, and I was like, well, The Grinch.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
the same idea, same idea.
Absolutely. The
Something
Grinch is
shitting all over Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, and he is kind of a better version of this than Bad Santa, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, he destroys Christmas. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that I didn't get sick from it or anything, but like I was surprised at the blowing up the mall scene. Like you don't really see violence against kids like that very often in these movies.
I mean, you do in
It's
the
a shame.
opening 10 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, let's go to another one, Tia.
Oh, for sure. So, one, I want to brag that I am an actress, but I'm also a classically trained actress. And I'm giving Terrifier 3 a lot of credit with this one. But moving from the end of the movie to the middle of the movie, the dinner scene with the Chinese food and Sienna is hallucinating her friend Brooke at the table, guilting her. And technically we're in a theater right now, so I can't say the name of this play, but the Scottish play written by, Bill Shakespeare, definitely it's like that scene. It's like definitely that scene where she is feeling like the guilt of like killing her friend, even though she didn't kill her friend, but like being the cause of the death of her friend. And they appear to her at the table. It's just like the character Macbeth. I'm not saying the play, the character Macbeth.
Sure.
Feeling like the guilt and seeing Macduff appear to him at the dinner table as a ghost. And also there was like another slight reference where she's like washing the dirt off of her hands, was very like Lady Macbeth, like washing the blood off of her hands and
Okay, yeah.
realizing the guilt. So yeah, it's a play,
Yeah.
which they've made many movies of.
Sure,
so.
absolutely. I love that
Yeah.
we got William Shakespeare on the Terrifier
Exactly,
episode.
yeah.
That's amazing. I
Yeah.
thought you were going to go like Telltale Heart or something, some Edgar Allan
Yeah, I
Poe
was
or
about to
something.
say, like, why is American Werewolf in London something you're not supposed to say in a theater? I'm so confused by that. No, that's much better. That's
Yeah,
much better.
much better. I love that. That's a great one. Michael, let's go to one from you.
Well, there was a lot of child death. Well, there was a lot for a film in a theater.
Yeah, major release, really.
Yeah, a lot of violent child murder. The Blob. It seems like Damien Leone must have at some point seen the remake of The Blob from 86, 7?
I've never
88,
seen it
88.
actually.
It's great. Spoilers: a kid dies.
I've never
Good.
seen either one.
Exciting.
And it's one of them. It's one of those like big moments in my life watching a movie. It was like on HBO on demand or something, and this kid just gets the flesh just like taken off his face basically in the water. If you've seen the movie, it's a scene you don't forget. But yeah, The Blob '88 is I think it's the first time I remember seeing a child brutally murdered in a movie. Now it's every Saturday matinee for this guy.
Of course. Yeah. We're doing one next week, I think. But yeah, like I said, I haven't seen it. It's been on my watch list for a long time, and it just looks so fun.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to
Steve
watch
McQueen Blob? 88 Blob. Oh.
that. Yeah, okay, very good. My next piece kind of has a question mark on it. I was hoping maybe you guys could help me with this one, but I'm thinking it's Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the Dream Master. Is that when Freddy really kind of jumps into full-on goofball?
I would say
No.
yeah.
I have
Really?
not
Four?
seen 4.
Yeah, I would say 4 because 2 obviously it's 2. 3 he gets weirder, but he's not straight up just like off the wall goofy.
Yeah.
And then Dream Master and Dream Child was like the 1-2 punch of Saturday morning cartoon
Right.
Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, he becomes just like a character, like a total
Yeah.
like Saturday morning cartoon, and like yeah, I haven't seen them. I think I marathoned them all in high school. I've seen the first one since then, but not any of the sequels. But that's why I was kind of with my question mark there. But yeah, I mean, you know, Art has been funny since the first one, but here he's hilarious. I was cracking up at so many scenes, and he's just ridiculous.
There was part of me that really wanted almost like a Buster Keaton style, just bit of business,
Slipping
like
on
just,
the blood or
well,
something.
just like
maybe.
really, just like go like all these scenes, the dramatic scenes between characters take fucking forever.
Yeah.
Cut a few of those and give me like the general, but it's Art the Clown. Just go hog fucking wild and let him have. I don't remember the actor's name. I'm terrible, but the guy who plays Art the Clown, obviously
David
super
Thornton.
talented.
Thornton, yeah.
Thornton.
David Thornton, yeah.
Let him just go hog because
Yeah.
I think that would be far more entertaining
Yeah.
than a lot of what we get in
He's got
between
one
all
more
the art
movie
stuff.
to do it.
He wants to play the Joker. Maybe he could do it there.
Everybody wants to play the Joker.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. William, let's go for another one. from you.
I think tonally, I see a lot of, and I'm surprised nobody brought this up. Krampus,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is again a movie that surprisingly I had just discovered like 6 months ago. I'd never seen it.
It's so absurd.
Yeah, it's but like you know what I mean, like the look of it and the tone of it,
Yeah.
and the way they mix colors, bright, you know, anything Christmas bright colors with the darkness tone of things. I see a lot of resemblance in that, and usually Christmas horror movies kind of like that too. But Krampus really engulfs that style.
Yeah, and I think we got like a lot of those like kind of Christmas horrors in the 80s,
Mhm.
maybe before that, and they kind of went away for a while. And then Krampus is part
Yeah.
of like a resurgence of that kind of thing, and then this
Yeah.
is maybe the end of all that. I don't know. So
It sucks that I'm the one that had to bring up Gremlins and Krampus because I think that they feel very related somehow.
sure, absolutely, Christmas critters, absolutely.
But yeah, it works.
on.
Whatever works.
Tia, let's go to another one.
Okay, so going to the first scene of the movie now where the little girl sees Santa. And we already mentioned the Grinch, and it's very Cindy Lou Who
Yeah,
seeing
yeah.
the Grinch, or the Santa Claus as well, like the little girl being like seeing Santa, and then she sees him the next year and gives him like what is it, soy milk, and also like Silent Night, Deadly Night. You know, the little girl gets spared or whatever. But I'm gonna go super dark here, and be a real true crime podcast piece of shit, and talk about a real thing that happened.
Oh, let's
real
get happy here.
true crime case here. So in 2008, there was the Covina massacre, where a disgruntled dad who was upset at his wife over child support, they were going through a divorce. He goes over to his in-laws' house dressed as Santa, and he murders everyone at this Christmas party. And it was his 8-year-old niece that answered the door and probably saw Santa, only to have a very tragic end there.
Well,
So
I'm
yeah.
depressed now. I'm incredibly
Yeah.
depressed by
So-
that. That's horrible.
Hope you all feel
Yeah.
bad about yourselves now.
Wow. Yeah, that's horrible. I was also thinking about, I mean, it's acting, of course, but like that little girl, like, she's great. She does a great job of like acting. Just, I mean, what do you even tell the kid? Is this scene is about these sick grown-ups, what their minds come
Yeah.
up with for movies?
Like
In
when
the opening, did he kill her?
Yeah. I mean,
I mean, you don't see
You don't
it.
see
I mean,
her.
he didn't even
But
pick up
he
the.
just waves at her. But
I
yeah.
was really thinking we were gonna get like something at some point in the third act relating to that scene, like because it feels like a dangling thread of like,
Yeah.
well, he'll kill a child. Will he kill this child that we've, gotten some
mean,
good FaceTime with?
Maybe she'll show up in the fourth one.
How about the brother? Do you think the brother is really dead?
That I couldn't believe they did that.
Yeah, I wonder if he shows
he's
up down
dead.
below or whatever.
Did we
He's
miss-
dead. Yeah.
Was I too high? Because
Yes.
it felt like we missed a reel, and which
Yeah.
shouldn't happen in this day and age.
They,
Well, yeah.
I recognize.
They also don't explain what happens to the uncle, like the sister's husband, in the car when he goes to pick up the
Is that
brother.
his
They-
body?
That's his body on the wall, I think.
Is that supposed to
That's
I
be?
body
think
on his
so.
wall, and that's his head on the tree.
Because I thought that was the
Yeah.
but they don't
college guy.
show it.
I think
So-
the college guy was
Yeah.
like...
Maybe
yeah.
there was like a scene that got cut.
Yeah, I think there's
because
a
scene
It's
that
already
got
like a
cut.
2-hour movie.
In part
so.
2, not that I am going too much into this, they show that they can change their voice
Right.
over the phone.
But they
So,
didn't show that.
but in
yeah.
part 3, that's the assumption I was getting when he was on the phone.
Right,
with the
right.
kid.
Outside the dorm.
But
yeah.
apparently,
Yeah.
I guess that kid was already gone, and
Which they didn't show.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
complete scene that we missed where he gets in the truck, kills the father.
We
and
could have gotten
comes-
one more kill. So like we might as
There's
well
a
see
lot
that.
of kills that happen
There's a lot of
off
good
screen,
kills.
which is surprising to me.
But I'm not crazy. Audience, this huge audience before me. It feels like stuff got skipped, right?
He walked into the dorm party, and
Yeah.
I was expecting some sort of big massacre. Or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
there.
Missed
Yeah,
opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You could have had a Nightmare on Elm Street 2 scene.
The
where he
budget
just
got
goes through the whole
cut or
party,
something.
You know what I'm saying? But no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I still had so much fun with it, but yeah, that would have been awesome if that was like just a whole massacre. But Michael, let's go to one more from you, and then we'll open it to the floor.
Well, I will say that the tube in the mom's mouth
Yeah.
scene reminded me of a very unsavory bit of the book American Psycho that involved, I think, a gerbil maybe and a young woman. But my actual piece is the film Pieces. Juan Piquer Simon, 1982. Great film. Absurd, one of the greatest final shots in cinema history. But it has a bathroom scene. And I think, if I remember correctly, it's been a few years, you only see the aftermath, really, of the scene. But you might see a little bit of the actual murder. But it's a chainsaw murder in a bathroom shower setting. And it really did feel like, oh, yeah, he wants to go after Pieces with this shower scene that really has no purpose. Other like those characters, I don't think we ever see prior.
Yeah, I mean, not really, but it is really fun though that he gets his moment to like stare her in the face, like she was saying earlier. She wants to stare him in the face and see if there's evil there or whatever.
Was that the podcast girl?
That was the podcast.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yeah.
I was very befuddled.
Okay, well, yeah, that's who that was. so,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought they just fucking disappeared.
You thought it was just a couple of people having sex. Didn't they do that in Alien Covenant? There was just a couple of random people having sex.
No,
and
those
then-
are actual characters in Alien
Okay.
Covenant. Yeah, I actually, but I remember that too. I
Yeah.
thought that as well when I first saw the movie. And then
Yeah.
I saw it again and realized they were actual fucking characters.
Okay, yeah, they're
They broke the rule. They deserve it. You know, you can't have sex
Right.
in a horror movie.
absolutely. Then you die 100%.
Especially in a public bathroom. Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
they're
decorum.
they're in college, so
I want to open it up to the floor. We don't have a lot of people at this show, but let's see if we have any pieces out there in the crowd. Anybody have anything that they thought of that might have influenced this one in some way? We got one right here.
Well, somebody mentioned the actor would like to play the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I haven't seen the first two in this series, but besides the killer evil clown thing, this was like Jack Nicholson in frickin' Batman.
Yeah.
You know?
Just
He's
hamming it up.
Hamming it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having fun with it.
Absolutely. I think that aside from it just being a clown, a mime clown kind of, it definitely you could see a lot of to that kind of performance. Absolutely.
That's how you get to horror icon status, is when Robert Englund is certainly having a great time playing Freddy, and this
Yeah.
guy's certainly having a great time playing Art the Clown.
Absolutely.
Soaking
it looks
up.
like a lot of fun. to
Yeah.
just
Well, and I think
be
that's
that.
what set this apart for me when I like I said, I hadn't seen the first two until this past week, and I was kind of expecting to not like them, but I just felt like he is so much fun, and I think that's why I actually connected with them. Aside from the over-the-top gore, there's plenty of super violent B horror movies out there, but they don't have an Art the Clown in them, and he is just so much fun in this.
He is
so,
great.
Yeah, he's just a great character, and it's a
I
great
like that,
performance.
Sonny. This is my favorite genre is horror, gore, and I remember the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, I don't recall any other movie back then with chainsaw massacres. And in one, there was some gory chainsaw, 2 and 3 gory chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
It's gory.
Yeah,
Cutting out
absolutely.
the whole body like they did in Texas Chainsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Hang him on the hook, cut him up.
Yep.
Unapologetic.
Yeah, totally. And you can tell that the people who made these movies, like, they just love that
Yeah,
shit.
they have a love for him. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a love and an honor to them.
Yeah, and they want to push those effects and what's possible with that, because obviously we haven't had enough really visceral, gory, violent, like real practical effects lately. So they're really going all the way as far as you can go with it.
Yeah, honestly, you give me those effects and those ideas, put them in a stock Friday the 13th plot, just plop it into part 4 or whatever. I would have a fucking blast.
To that point, actually, I'm going to throw an extra little piece here. Something I was thinking about with this movie. I keep thinking about the John Wick series. These movies that are essentially just like throwback, like action, just straight up revenge action movies, but then they just start opening up all this insane lore. Is that some of the stuff that you don't like about Terrifier?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it works. It's
Yeah.
just not like it's. I like the idea is fine, and I commend like trying to do something that different. I think that's really cool. I just don't think it works.
I agree with them
And
completely. Part 1 is so simple.
Yeah,
Right,
part
it's
1
so
is
much simpler.
Part
Keep it
1's
so
perfectly
simple.
simple. You don't have to stay that simple, but
Which is just like John Wick. John Wick, the first one is a simple revenge thriller, and then
Yeah.
it just opens up into all this insane shit. And personally, I love that, and
Yeah,
I love
I
that
do
about
too.
these movies. So
I love when they jump the shark.
Yes,
And I hope
yeah.
that the shark is very high in the 4th one.
Me
and
too.
they go to purgatory, and it's a whole
That
like,
will be a really
other
cool
realm,
part 4 if they do that.
Hellraiser situation.
yeah,
You know?
I'm very hopeful.
Yeah.
You mentioned John Wick, and I was just going to say something. There's something about these series, because I know you just started right with this one. You hadn't seen the first 2. Well, there's something very Back to the Futurist in their narrative, because they start exactly where they end. You see that he was laying there without a head. Well, at the end of part 2, that's what they do at the beginning of part 2, also at the end of part 1. And I like John Wick did that. They connect, and
Right.
that's kind of an interesting thing that horror doesn't really do.
Right.
Narratively piece them all together like that. So I really like that they do that.
Absolutely. Do we have any other pieces in the crowd? Anything else? Got one right over there.
The cameo we got during the newscast.
Tom
Tom
Savini.
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 Yeah.
Yep.
He
Absolutely.
loved this movie, I'm sure.
Which he probably didn't. He wasn't on part 1 at all. Right?
No,
it
he
was
did-
just
no,
an
he-
honorary
It's
cameo.
just an honorary.
Well, I
thing,
think
yeah.
that as this series keeps getting bigger, I mean, the 4th one's probably gonna have a ton of cameos, most
Yeah.
likely. But but yeah, that was a great little throwback to like all classic horror in there. So
And then
And those
one piece
special
I saw
effects.
that doesn't really, it's kind of a stretch because of the opening showing, I think that's what people were walking out getting sick on, was showing the violence to children. Once Upon a Time in the West. Henry Fonda walking in and just shooting the kid right in the head.
yeah,
And that's kind of reminded me of that. And that was the reaction to Once Upon a Time in the West as well.
that's interesting.
People
Nice.
walking out during that opening.
Absolutely. So once Upon a Time in the West, for anyone who didn't hear, and yeah, I mean, as far as like violence to kids, I also thought of Dr. Sleep is a movie that I know kind of disturbed a lot of people with that.
That movie makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
So yeah, it's just not something you see very often. But I do want to get into some closing thoughts here. William, let's go to your any closing thoughts.
You sign up for what you get. We get exactly what we know we're gonna get when we come to these movies, and it's very entertaining. And I really like the concept of what they're gonna do with part 4, specifically because of set design. Now we're gonna have a lot of creative set design as well as special effects. So I'm excited to see where they go with it, if there is indeed an end to it
Yeah,
at some point.
yeah.
So-
Well, he says
But
it's going to be, but we'll see.
these movies are fun, nevertheless.
Yeah, absolutely. Tia, how about you?
Loved it.
Me too.
Absolutely loved it. But I'm easy to please.
Yeah.
I rarely don't like a movie. But
Did you love it more than the second and first, or like would you say it's your favorite of the series? Or?
We watched All Hallows Eve. We watched the first one, the second one. I mean, I really like this. Sorry, the second one a lot. I felt like the final girl was like a final girl, and in this one it was kind of muddled.
She's great.
You know.
Yeah, she is.
And
good.
she was very strong in the second one, and also like that Halloween costume and her fighting as an angel is so badass.
Yeah, I was waiting for her to get the outfit back on. I guess it's
Yeah.
going to be big on the fourth one.
Well,
I don't know.
because she's gonna go to hell, and like she has to be. Also, like I'm pretty sure they're gonna do some reference of Gabby, Gabriel, Angel.
Ooh.
She has the sword, and she went to the underworld. So that just speculating there.
Yeah, very good.
But I loved it. Like blood, a clown, final girl. Campiness. I love. Obviously,
Sure.
You can see as I'm dressed, I love campy horror. The more camp, the better. So,
Right
yeah,
on.
loved it.
Michael, how about you?
I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. You're done. Yeah.
it was
Okay.
fine.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. No, I like Tia. I also really loved it. I love that these movies just keep getting more and more over the top and ridiculous. I'm not sure yet if 2 or 3 would be my favorite. And I mean, 1 is great for what it is. It's a zero plot, just like almost
Very
proof
simple.
of concept.
It's
cat and mouse.
So, yeah, it's just like nothing there, but it's got the goods if you're looking for gore from these movies. But yeah, and I think that this one really kind of upped the ante in pretty much every way, and it really set up the fourth one in a way that I'm excited for. So, yeah. Before we get to some final plugs, we are sponsored by Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, and we have a couple of passes to give out. And to do that, anyone who is interested in winning 2 passes to Tom Devlin's Monster Museum, I want to see your best creepy mime impression. Who's willing to do that for a couple of passes? Anybody here?
You can just pretend you're in a box.
I know somebody's
that
going to do
simple.
it. There we go. We got one right there. All right, great. You're getting a pair of those passes.
Pretty good.
One more.
Very good.
I wouldn't let
Pretty
him
good.
near my children. That's
One
a
more.
creepy
Anybody
line.
on that side? Anybody on that side? I know one of you wants it. All right, that was
that was
great.
pretty
That was
good.
actually really good. All right.
Or some are so over here. Jesus Christ.
Killing it. Absolutely. William, tell people where they can find you.
Again, you can actually find Film Buff Show anywhere online. Facebook, Instagram, Letterboxd, Twitter. YouTube mostly is where the show is located.
Right on. Tia, how about you?
You can find me on Facebook, Tia Bean, or Instagram at Tia is the coolest, because I am. If you are a horror movie maker, please find me, because I want to die in your movie. Actually, I mentioned that the last podcast, and
You
I've
did?
died twice already.
Oh, amazing.
So
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I got stabbed and stabbed,
yeah.
and I was hit over the head with a clown in Violence the Clown. And next week I'm gonna get killed by a killer toilet
Hell
in
yeah.
All Hallows Flush, and hopefully Michael will kill me a few times this year. So yeah,
Working on it.
yeah. So
I love it. I love it. That's
Exciting.
amazing. Michael, how about you?
I promise I really like movies, and you can tell because I have a YouTube channel called The Manatee Party that you can check out, where I talk about movies, and usually I like them. And then also you can find my movies, The Head, Fatal Future. They're out there, and yeah, check out The Head on Blu-ray from Terror Vision.
Terror Vision. Yes, and thank you so much to Downtown Cinemas for having us out. We will be back next month for Heretic, and then we'll be up at Maya Cinemas for Gladiator 2. So we got a couple more live shows on the way. And thank you to everybody that is here for being here at the show. And that's it for today.
yay.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Terrifier 3. Thank you so much to Downtown Cinemas for having us out again. Thank you to Michael Keene, Tia Bean, and William-Patrick Coleman for joining me on that one. Thanks to everyone who showed up to the theater for a really fun show. And thank you to all you out there who are listening. If you're enjoying piecing it together, make sure you're subscribed wherever it is that you're listening. Drop us a little 5-star rating and review if you want to help make sure that more people check out the show. Also, send in your puzzle pieces. If you thought of anything for Terrifier 3 that we didn't bring up, I'd love to hear them, and I will read them on the next trailers episode. And also, I just love hearing from the listeners. So email me, bydavidrosen@gmail.com. There's a contact form on the website, piecingpod.com. Also, of course, social media at piecingpod. You can find me. And yeah, that is our show for today. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, we are going to just really push these pre-orders for the new The Pup Pups album just for this week to get in anything we can get in to get all of your pets' names on the bonus song at the end of this new album. So you can find the album at thepuppups.bandcamp.com. There'll be a link in the show notes as well. If you want to get in on that pre-order and get your pet's name included, this is the week to do it before I wrap this thing up and send it out to the press and get vinyl made for the first time ever. It is going to look and sound amazing. And I might as well close this episode out with a song about my little Terrifier. This is a song about Harvey. The song is called Dr. Frankenstein. It's the very Halloween-themed song for the album. I hope you enjoy it. We'll be back with more piecing it together real soon.
I created a monster. I must be out my mind. I created a monster. I'm Dr. Frankenstein.
An All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.